Hey, y'all, and welcome to the Everyday Athlete Podcast, recorded live from Omaha, Nebraska. And I'm your host, Katie Danger, U.S. Army veteran and founder of Red H Nutrition, providing everyday athletes just like you clean, effective nutritional solutions, custom formulated to help you reach your absolute potential every single day. Hello again, athletes. Welcome to episode number 15 of the Everyday Athlete Podcast. The title of this week's podcast is What You Can Learn from a Seagull. You guys, I am so grateful to have you tune in every week with me. My goal has always been to add as much value to your life as I possibly can. There are so many different ways to improve your life. I'm all about trying everything. I'm the type of person, I will try almost anything once. So I hope that this podcast is just one way that you find that helps you improve your life. Now, before I get much deeper into this week's podcast topic, I want to share some stats with you. I'm really excited about this. So every week I get a stats report on how many people are listening to the podcast. And so far, with just 14 full episodes, we have over 3,300 downloads. Now, podcasting takes a lot of work. And I've had my mentors tell me that if you're going to do it, like before I decided to jump into this, they told me you have to commit to a year. You've got to commit to 52 episodes once a week. You got to prep your materials. You got to put it all together in a format that can be digested by your audience, that your audience wants to listen to, and then be able to present it to them in a way that shows your unique personality. So each week I spend about 5 hours for each episode. I sit down, I do some research behind the themes and topics. I make sure I have my research correct. I do a little journaling and editing of what I want to say so I can organize the information into pieces that are clear and concise for you. Because I know that there are podcasts out there that are like 4 hours long. And I just think that that is nuts. One, for the person doing the podcast to sit there and just talk, but then two, like to listen to. I kind of feel like maybe some people are just not actively listening at certain points. But anyway, one of my goals that I made last year for this year is that I wanted to go deeper with my audience. I really wanted to educate, inspire, and empower. That is my ethos. That is what I wake up every morning with, is how can I educate, inspire, and empower? So starting the Everyday Athlete Podcast, it's helped me to do just that. And seeing our listeners grow week by week, it is a blessing. I'm so grateful for it. And I'm grateful that you are willing to spend a small portion of your precious time with me, and that I give you something to chew on, something that you could implement into your daily life, and something that could really help you change your life. Not every week is going to interest you as much as some things. I do every podcast with the same passion and vigor, but really at the end of the day, there are some podcasts that I'm just like more excited about doing than others. So that's why I know you're going to find different information to have different value for you. But stick with me. I've always got something that at least you can chew on for a little bit. Starting your own podcast, it takes a lot of belief in the message that you want to share. So I have got to be absolutely passionate and have this conviction to consistently share my message with you. Now, I believe that there are no limits to what can be accomplished when you remove all resistance and start asking for exactly what it is you want out of life. And this is a perfect segue that leads us into the topic this week. And it's what you can learn from a seagull. And you can learn belief from a seagull. Now, if you look up the definition of belief, if you Google it, it is defined as trust, faith, or confidence that something exists. Trust, faith, or confidence that something exists. Simply put, if you believe something exists, then it does. Or on the flip side, if you don't believe in something, then it doesn't exist. Now, you're probably wondering, what does a belief and a seagull have in common? In 2017, Kobe Bryant made a surprise trip to the San Diego Chargers training camp, and he gave one of the most inspiring lectures that the players had ever heard. Now, Kobe was known to do this a lot on the DL. This particular visit to the Chargers, he happened to be going to LA for a game at the time, so it just kind of made sense. He stopped by and made a surprise visit. And they were doing some optional training camps. So it was a great opportunity, considering that the NBA season and NFL season don't necessarily line up, that he could go and he could share some of his wisdom. He was retired at that point too. So in his speech to them, he talked about how he prepares, how he trained, and mostly his mindset. Kobe Bryant was known as having the Mamba Mentality. His mindset was unshakable. The man believed that he could do anything and be anything if he set his mind to it and was willing to put in the work. Now, the players asked him what his favorite book was, and he said it was Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and that book is what inspired him to be great. So naturally, when I read about this shortly after Kobe passed, what his favorite book was, I bought the book on Amazon and I consumed it in one evening in about a 3-hour time span. It was just really good. It was great. The book is about a seagull who's fascinated with the art of flight, while all the other seagulls out there in the world are just going through the motions. They're just finding and fighting over food, kind of like the drone mentality. Well, this seagull named Jonathan believed in something greater for himself. He believed that he was more than just a seagull who was supposed to fight for food all the time. And that was basically the reason for his existence. He believed in more. As Jonathan starts to fly faster, he learns aerial tricks. He teaches himself new things. He finds new ways to get faster. But he often finds that doubt creeps in, just like it does with us when we're trying new things. And what he ends up finding is that when he hangs around with the people that do not lift him up, it's when doubt sets in the most. They tell him things like, if he was meant to be a fast bird, he'd have falcon wings, but he's just a seagull. That if he was meant to fly at dark, he'd be an owl. He'd have good eyes. If he was meant to do these acrobatic tricks that he's practicing, then he'd have been an airplane. And if he was meant to fly anywhere, he'd already have the maps and the places set in his brain. It was all of these resistance and just doubt that the others around him would instill and get over, or try to see beyond and see the metaphor here or analogy, whatever, that being a seagull in this instance and the restrictions of what seagulls believe that they are is all that's holding them back. And essentially it's the same for you. Exactly who you believe you are is who you are, or who you don't believe you are. So it works both ways. And in the book, Jonathan almost gave up his dreams to be the best flyer he possibly could because of what others told him. He almost accepted all the things that he wasn't. So he was believing more in who he wasn't than who he could be or who he wanted to be. He almost went back to being a normal seagull who wasted the day searching for food and fighting over food. But let me interrupt for a second. Okay, I told you I read this book and I read the first few pages and I almost set it down. And I almost set it down because I was like, what the hell is a book about a seagull going to teach me about mindset, right? Because Kobe Bryant had recommended it because it helped with his mindset. So I get to the first few pages and it's a story about a seagull and I almost set it down. And I am so grateful that I didn't, because I learned so much from it about belief. And I have immediately applied this idea that if I just remove these layers of this resistance onion, I can become exactly who I want to be. I can be great. I can become a legend. I can educate, inspire, and empower. So I'm glad I didn't settle on the belief that this seagull book couldn't teach me anything. I'm glad that I continued to read because it is a wealth of gems. And for someone looking to add fuel to the fire, you got to read this book. Ever heard the saying, failing to prepare is preparing to fail? A major component to your competitive success will be your nutrition prep. And I created a competition nutrition guide to help you utilize pre, intra, and post-competition nutrition protocols, boost your confidence heading into a competition, recover quicker post-comp so you get right back to training, and increase your power output and max capacity so you can own that podium. I created this guide just for the everyday athlete, and you can get your free copy at competitionnutritionguide.com. I'll say again, competitionnutritionguide.com. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Are you tired of doing the same things day in and day out? Are you tired of falling into the traps that lead you to believe that you don't have control over your life? That becoming great is for other people. It's not for you. Well, this story, the story of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, it inspires us all to cultivate what we have inside and separate ourselves from the pack. And it all starts with the belief that you can live your life in freedom however you wish to do so. The back of the book, if you look at the back of the book, there's a little excerpt and it explains a little bit about what the book is about. And I think that this quote it just sums it up. This is a story for spirits who have lived so long and quietly by themselves. A story for those who know that somewhere, some way, there is a way of living that is more fulfilling than following the orders of others and living vanilla. The trick to getting more from ourselves is to finally stop thinking of ourselves as we are. We have to think of ourselves as who we want to become before we become it. So you heard me correct. You've got to think of yourself as you want to be, even though you're not there yet. That's how you manifest your reality. You got to know that your true self and your true nature already exists. It's your belief in the inner power and freedom that holds you back. That's the trick. That's the secret. It also brings me back to the purpose of this podcast. And I know you're out there. I know you are. I'm that person too. You want to be greater. You want to do greater, but you're not able to see yourself for who you want to be yet. But I see you. I see you. And that's my goal, is to help you see yourself too. So when you look in the mirror, when you take notes about who you are and start to describe who you are, you're already the person that you want to be, even if the physical appearance isn't there quite yet. The only person, though, that needs to believe in you is you. I am here to help you along your way, and you need to cultivate a group that also supports you. But at the end of the day, you've got to believe in yourself. Oftentimes when we set goals and we don't achieve them, we think of all the restrictions we had, the things that got in our way, the people that hurt us, the timing wasn't right, et cetera, et cetera. You know, we've all done this laundry list of excuses before. This is a typical belief patterns that we all have. We're human, and it's okay. It's true that we're going to meet obstacles. It's true that our journey is going to get complicated. But if you believe in your cause, you believe in yourself, and you take control of your why, say that one more time. If you believe in yourself, your cause, and you take control of your why by choice, and who you become is deep within your heart and soul, there is absolutely nothing that can stop you. I will tell you, I believe in you, but you got to believe in yourself too. To manifest that reality that you want, you've got to believe in yourself. So today, my friends, athletes, use this podcast and take a lesson from a seagull and believe in your dang self, okay? People may call you crazy. They'll tell you there's no way, but I guarantee that once you get going, once you get some momentum, they're going to turn and watch. Some are going to be amazed and want to join you. Some are going to turn away and be jealous, disdain. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who likes you or who doesn't like you. It's so much better when people like you, though. But at the end of the day, it's all in you, and people are still going to watch you. So get going on whenever you want today, not tomorrow, right this moment, not even a few hours from now. So I talked a lot about this book about the seagull, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And if you want to read the entire story, just go over to Amazon. You know, I'm not making any money off this recommendation. This is just a book that inspired me. It's $10. It's $10 on Amazon. It took me like 3 hours to read. You're going to be inspired from it. You're going to realize that anything is possible for yourself in your life. And athletes, just as always, I know that you're juggling life and all of its responsibilities. And when it comes to improving your fitness and nutrition, Red H Nutrition has you covered. If you've ever considered boosting your strength, your power, your speed, your endurance, or helping your focus, clarity, and mood, maybe it's get better sleep, move pain-free. Overall, you just want catalysts for large change, then Red H Nutrition is going to be your supplement of choice. And as a listener right now of this podcast, I want you to head over to redhshop.com, use code podcast20 and save 20% off your order right now and every other purchase you make in the future. If you're ready to be better than you were yesterday, athletes, like I said, you got to head over to redhshop.com, find that supplement solution that's going to help take you from point A to point B. Use code podcast20, save 20%. Thanks so much for hanging with me today, athletes. Next week, I'm going to be chatting about red light therapy and the therapeutic benefits and the long lost art of phytotherapy and what this can do for your wellness optimization. I have been using full body red light treatments now for 30 days, and I'm gonna be sharing my results. I'm gonna be sharing some ways that you can start implementing this into your daily routine as well. So let's chat again next week, shall we? Same time, same place, athletes. This is Katie D, over and out.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.